up to its Phoenix office. Authorities plan to return the Tucson home to the Guthrie family after doing a fine. They say the parking bans in effect and the no trespassing orders will still remain in place.
Good Day Chicago at 8 starts now.
Right now at 8 o'clock, an emotional goodbye to a civil rights legend. We're going to be live outside Rainbow Push headquarters where the community is once again lining up to honor Reverend Jesse Jackson.
The battle over the Bears heats up as Illinois and Indiana both move forward with their own stadium measures.
And with so much at stake, we are taking you live to the NFL Combine where the Bears are already gearing up for the next season.
Plus fog hopefully starting to clear out to a sunny day in Chicago. Temperatures on the rise, but the wind is going to blow in some changes, people.
Look at that sky, though. I'm liking what I'm seeing out there so far. Caitlin, got a nice Friday.
We've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Happy Friday.
You too.
Happy Friday. It's going to be a windy day, but it is going to be a fantastic feeling. We already have the blue sky over the city, but we do have some fog to deal with, too. So let's talk about the temperatures right now when you're stepping out the door. Most of us are in the 30s. A few of us are in the 20s as we get west of the city. So it's 29 degrees in DeKalb right now, but 31 at O'Hare and Midway, 33 at the lakefront, 36 in Gary. So a chilly start, but my goodness, we're going to be in the upper 50s and low 60s later on today. Looking at the visibility, that fog is still settled close to the ground in portions of Will County, Kane, Kendall County, DuPage County, down to a quarter mile or less where you see that orange shade. So take it slow out there. Dense fog advisory in place until 9 because of this, including Cook County, stretching out to Will, Kankakee, LaSalle, DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, and Grundy County. Our day planner has temperatures right around 54 degrees by noon. By 3:60, a wonderful day today, but winter is back tomorrow. A full check of your forecast is ahead.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. Well, family, friends, strangers, they're all lining up to remember the legacy of civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson.
That's where we find our Brian Jackson, who's live outside of Rainbow Push headquarters on East 50th Street, where Reverend Jackson is lying in repose. Good morning, Brian.
Yeah.
Good morning, Anthony and Gabriella. Reverend Jackson's impact stretched far beyond the city limits here in Chicago. He marched right alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He founded the Rainbow Push Coalition right behind me here in the city of Chicago. He ran for president not once, but twice, pushing for issues like voting rights, economic equity, and access to opportunity, all into the national conversation. He did all of that from right here in Chicago. The viewing for him will begin again this morning at 10 o'clock. The line outside of the Rainbow Push is growing this morning. There was about 1 or 2 people the last time I spoke with you guys. Now we're looking at about a half a dozen or so. We're expecting that to grow even more throughout the morning. And in that line, we're expecting to see elders who possibly even marched in the movement with Reverend Jackson, and also young people who maybe only knew him through textbooks, but they're all standing in that same line. And that is the type of generational reach that Reverend Jackson had.
We want to make sure that as Chicagoans, we participate in our city's civic duty. And one of the things that I want to make sure my young people understand is that they don't need to be invited to a space such as this. This is their space. And to honor such an icon such as Reverend Jackson, it is a moment that they need to be participating in. We do a great job at school within our classrooms, but coming outside for field experiences is exactly what we needed at this moment. So we want to honor him, his family, as well as his legacy.
And what an opportunity for both the old and the young. Again, the doors here at the Rainbow Push Coalition will open up at 10 o'clock this morning. Reporting live on the South Side, Brian Jackson, Fox Chicago.
Okay, Brian, thank you for that update. Indiana Governor Mike Braun has signed a bill designed to lure the Chicago Bears across state lines. In a statement, Braun wrote in part, "We made it clear from the beginning that Indiana is open for business. I am thrilled to sign Senate Bill 27 to create the framework to build a new world-class stadium in Northwest Indiana." Now, Illinois is still trying to hold on to the Bears. Lawmakers in Springfield inched toward a deal on Thursday. They passed a bill out of committee that gives the team the authority to negotiate property tax breaks for a stadium in Arlington Heights. State Rep Cam Buckner's district does include Soldier Field, and he is supportive of this bill.
The board that has to approve this agreement has to have members of every taxing district on it, right? School district, Park District, et cetera. And they will be represented in a weighted vote based on what their total piece of the tax pie in the area is, right? And so we're empowering these folks to be a part of these decisions, to help craft what it looks like, because we know that one size does not fit all. What happens, what's good for my district may not be good for your district. And so we've given people the local control to help figure that out.
This bill still needs full approval by the House and the Senate before Governor J.B. Pritzker can sign it. And the Bears, in a statement, say that the team appreciates the advancement of the mega project legislation and looks forward to continued engagement as lawmakers determine the path forward.
New this morning, Crown Point, Indiana police want you to be on the lookout for this silver Buick Encore. They believe it was involved in a road rage that led to a hit and run. So it happened around 3:15 p.m. Thursday on Joliet Street. This is just blocks away from Colonel John Wheeler Middle School. Officers say two drivers were arguing when they pulled into a parking lot. One of the men got out, the other hit him and sped away. Police are asking people in the area to see if their Ring cameras caught that moment. Also new, a man is now in charge in a deadly shooting outside of Jewel Osco on Chicago's South Side. It happened around 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday at a store on South Ashland Avenue and West 94th. 26-year-old Bobby Martin is charged with first-degree murder. He's expected in court today. Police say he and the victim knew each other. That person has not been identified yet.
Families of children allegedly abused at a Des Plaines daycare say that the case may go beyond what authorities have revealed thus far. Police say at least 10 children were physically or verbally abused at a Mother's Touch Learning Academy between November 5th and 18th. 36-year-old Jessica Murillo and 23-year-old Isabella Thompson are facing multiple charges, and the attorney representing the family says that evidence suggests that abuse at that daycare may have been going on for months or even years.
It's my understanding that there is videotape of this going back months and months of where these children were abused and maltreated by these individuals. And now, because of their failure to properly supervise, their failure to keep these children safe, and their failure to ensure the well-being of these children while they were at their daycare, now these children are suffering from long-lasting and lifelong impacts.
The daycare released a statement saying the workers were removed immediately and are no longer employed. It also notified DCFS and is cooperating with officials.
The family of a beloved local boat captain is filing a wrongful death lawsuit against the firm that manages security at Chicago harbors. The body of 63-year-old Nabil Abzal was found in DuSable Harbor in August. He was widely known by his nickname Captain Bill. Prosecutors say a man who was trespassing punched Abzal in the face, who then fell into the water and drowned.
Anytime you saw him, he would help you out. I'd be putting up my sails. He'd give me a hand. He was just the nicest guy.
Alexis Trader has been charged with murder. Neither the Chicago Park District nor West Rec, which is the security company, have commented on the lawsuit.
The FAA has restricted flights in West Texas after the U.S. military used a laser to mistakenly shoot down a border protection drone. It happened near Fort Bliss outside the El Paso airport. This is now the second drone incident in a month there. The FAA grounded flights to and from El Paso earlier this month after the military shot down what it thought was a drone, but was actually a party balloon. All right, 8:08. Let's check in with Caitlin.
I remember that party balloon story. Do you guys remember that?
It's a little wild.
Yeah, hasn't it?
Our skies are nice and clear today. It looks like. Is this fog burned off yet?
For some, yeah, in Chicago, it's beautiful. We've got the blue sky, but we still have dense fog just west of the city. So that's where we do have that dense fog advisory still in place until 9. So watch out for the fog. But once the fog is gone, the only other hiccup that we have in our forecast today is going to be the wind. A little bit gusty, 35 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts are possible, but the temperatures are fabulous. And as mentioned, we've got the blue sky, the sunshine over Chicago, and all of us are getting sunny skies today. Right now, we're in the upper 20s. 2 mid-30s, 34 degrees at the lakefront, 36 in Gary, freezing. In Merrillville over the next 12 hours, here's our winds. So as mentioned, it is going to be a touch gusty. We're looking at around that 35 to 40 mile per hour range this afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock. By this evening, the winds will start to die down. It's going to be a quiet night tonight, but the temperatures are drastically changing this weekend, headed in the wrong direction. It is going to be a cold and winter-like weekend with the chance for snow. So let's take a look at our futurecast first. For today, I encourage you to get outside. I'm pushing you because it is going to be so nice. 4:15, temperatures hovering around 60 at the lakefront. But take a look at our southwestern counties. Mid to upper 60s are expected from Grundy to LaSalle to Kankakee. Feeling good, looking good too. And then as we head on into this evening, 7 p.m. temperatures are still in the mid to upper 50s. Tonight we're dropping down to the 30s and 40s. And then early tomorrow starting to see the 20s. Tomorrow is going to be a chilly day. Highs in the 30s with the chance for some snowfall. We'll time out the rest of your weekend with that precip potential and your 7-day forecast ahead.
Thank you, Caitlin. After the break, we're taking you live to the NFL Combine. Our Cassie Carlson is live with how the Bears are setting themselves up for success ahead of next season.
Yeah, we have more weather coverage with Caitlin on the way as well. But first, here's a look at that blue sky and a quick check of your 7-day forecast. We will be right back.
What are you girls doing?
We're doing all the heating, plumbing, and electric around here.
All right, I know you girls know stuff, but let's leave it to our trusted local experts. Let's call Four Seasons.
It's about time you figured it out.
Whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, air duct cleaning, or generators, you can always trust Four Seasons.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Content of this ad.
Welcome back. The time is now 8:14. Here are some of the top stories we're following today.
The late Reverend Jesse Jackson will lie in repose for a second day at Rainbow Push headquarters. Doors open at 10 a.m. for visitation. And on Monday, Reverend Jackson will lie in honor at the South Carolina State House. Then there will be a formal service in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday.
Lawmakers in both Illinois and Indiana are moving forward with measures designed to build a new Bears stadium. Governor Mike Braun signed Indiana's bill into law on Thursday. Illinois lawmakers passed a measure out of committee, but it still has to get approval from the House and Senate before going to the governor's desk.
Crown Point, Indiana police want you to be on the lookout for this silver Buick Encore. If you're near the TV screen, check it out here. They believe it was involved in a road rage incident that led to a hit and run, which happened around 3:15 yesterday on Joliet Street, blocks away from Colonel John Wheeler Middle School. Police are asking people in that area to check their Ring cameras for any video.
A new story this morning for Chicago public school families. The next 2 school years will give students longer summer breaks. The Chicago Board of Education approved the calendars on Thursday. The schedule expands summer break after last year's was cut to just 67 days because of the Democratic National Convention. This year, they'll get 81 days. The school year starts August 24th and runs through June 11th. It begins August 23rd and ends on June 9th the following year.
Meantime, CPS says it is going to be moving some students out of Aspira Charter School Network and in to other district schools for the rest of this school year. And this move will affect about 500 high schoolers. This doesn't mean that Aspira's charter is going away, but CPS says Aspira does not have the money to make it through the school year. Aspira is arguing that CPS has underfunded it for years, and some of the unionized teachers are calling on the district to give Aspira more time to fundraise.
Now we're calling on CPS to put together a comprehensive plan that helps protect students and staff if these schools close.
So CPS should take responsibility for protecting our school community from the chaos that they allowed. But instead of listening to us, the people who learn and teach in these schools every day, CPS is used to listening to only the bosses.
The Chicago Teachers Union says CPS and Aspira need to have a plan in place for teachers and, most importantly, the kids and parents affected by the change. All right, 8:16, let's send it over to Caitlin for a look at this Friday. We got fog we need to burn off, and then we're cruising into the mid-60s. Is that right?
Fabulous. Yeah, we're going to be in the 60s today. A wonderful day ahead. Look at the blue sky we have this morning in the city. We do have some fog still holding on west of the city, but once that fog is gone, we have a dense fog advisory in place until 9. It's going to be a wonderful rest of our day. The only hiccup is gusty wind, but still 35 to 40 mile per hour winds with temperatures in the 60s. I'll take it. Let's talk about these weather headlines, though, because we have quite a bit to discuss. Changes that are brewing right around the corner. So this huge warm-up coming for today, as mentioned. Mild temperatures, windy. After this fog moves out, it will be lovely for everyone. But the temperatures are tumbling this weekend down into the 30s, and we have the chance for some snow around Saturday afternoon through early Saturday night. And with that, it is going to be winter again in Chicagoland after this one day of heat. So currently, it's not that warm outside. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s. Right now, it's 34 degrees at the lakefront, 36 in Gary. So when you step out the door in Aurora and it's 27 degrees, don't be surprised. It's going to be chilly out there early, but temperatures are climbing to about 60 this afternoon. We're going to have that wind, as mentioned, up to 35 to 40 miles per hour, mostly sunny skies. Tonight dropping down to about 30. The winds are slowly going to die down. We still could have gusts up to about 25 miles per hour, but tomorrow temperatures are only going to be right around 35. So it is going to be a cold Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, chance for some scattered snow around during the afternoon, the evening, into the early overnight as mentioned, but Sunday is looking dry now. 31 is our high. Next week, we have a bumpy forecast next week. 39 degrees Monday, dry skies. Then the chance for rain is back Tuesday through Thursday with temperatures in the 40s. Tuesday and Wednesday, perhaps even pushing into the low 50s by Thursday. Anthony.
Okay. Thank you very much, Caitlin. Appreciate it. At the last NFL Combine, no one was sure how the Bears season would play out. They had a new coach, Caleb Williams, coming off kind of a rocky season. Well, this time, Bears are coming off a division title and a playoff victory. We're checking in with Cassie Carlson, who is live at the Combine down in Indy with what is next for the team. Cassie, good morning. Tell us first up what's on the schedule for the Combine today, Friday.
Well, Anthony, it was actually your quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who was speaking early this morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and he is the projected #1 pick coming off that Heisman national champion undefeated season for Indiana. So I was curious just to see how big of a crowd he drew, because he's right back home in Indianapolis, down the road from Bloomington, and I was kind of comparing it back to a couple years ago when Caleb Williams was the projected #1 pick. I would say a smaller crowd, but still a lot of excitement, given the fact that he is projected to go #1 to the Las Vegas Raiders. And he said he had a call with the Raiders, a formal interview, had the chance to talk to Tom Brady on the phone, which of course is exciting for any quarterback going through this draft process. But there was a funny story last night, actually, because we were at dinner. I was with our sports photographer, Jeff Weiris. We were sitting at St. Elmo's eating our shrimp cocktail, which is like a rite of passage if you come down to the NFL Combine. And we're mid-conversation. All of a sudden, a bunch of cheers and clapping breaks out in the restaurant. I'm like, what is going on? And you see Fernando Mendoza walking through the restaurant. So this guy is like king in Indy or anywhere he goes in Indiana. And he definitely drew a lot of applause. He like walks on water around here, it seems.
I'm not surprised. Cassie, before I ask you about the Bears report card, is your nose recovered from the horseradish in that shrimp?
Yes.
It's an intense
I've
experience.
had it 3 times. I've had it 3 times this week. You got to learn how to do it. You can't eat the actual like cocktail sauce. You got to like wipe it off the shrimp. Otherwise, you are going to literally feel like you're dying.
It's intense.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. So the NFLPA report cards have been leaked. How did the Bears grade out here?
All right, so they rank 13th overall, so right in the middle of the pack. A couple of grades that stand out. Home game field, they got a C. Let's see, strength coaches A-, position coaches B-. Offensive coordinator, that's Declan Doyle, who has now become the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, got an A-. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, this one was interesting, C+. Obviously someone who dealt with a handful of injuries throughout the season on the defensive side of the ball, a former head coach himself. Special teams coordinator Richard Hightower got a B-. Head coach Ben Johnson, to no one's surprise, got an A. General manager Ryan Poles, A-. Team ownership, A-. And the thing that's interesting about these report cards now is they are not allowed to be public anymore. Of course, they get leaked out. But looking at all the different report cards, I know Bears fans have honed in on the fact that Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers received a B- in his grade for head coach.
All right, so Ben Johnson got the A and LaFleur got the B-. Interesting with their little rivalry going. All right, one more question before we let you go. Cassie, what have you learned watching this week about the team itself and our outlook for this coming season?
Yeah, there's just so many different directions the Bears could go with the 25th overall pick. So it hasn't been so much focused on the different prospects here down at the Combine, more so focused on how they're going to get their offseason started to get below the cap, because Ryan Poles has a lot of cap constraints that he's dealing with. We know they've allowed permission for Tremaine Edmonds to seek a trade. If not, he'll be cut at the start of the new league year to free up $15 million in cap space. We know DJ Moore is going to be the highest paid player on the team next year, making $28.5 million, which makes him someone who could possibly be traded to unload that salary. And of course, everyone is wondering what the Raiders are thinking about their edge rusher, Max Crosby. The Raiders have said they would like to see him in Vegas. And then, of course, with all the conversations that start going on here this week, maybe they will try to find an asking price that's pretty high, probably 2 first-round picks, and then maybe the Bears are in play. But a lot's going to happen, the insiders say, in the next 7 to 10 days with Max Crosby. But a lot of people also believe, because it's a deep edge class, the Bears might be better off just drafting young and developing those players so they don't have cap constraints down the road. And probably the best quote we got was from Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio, who, when I asked him what he believes the Bears' window to compete for a championship is, he said unlimited when you have Caleb Williams.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's very good to hear. Cassie Carlson down in Indianapolis for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, 8:23. We're going to take a quick break. More Good Day Chicago right after this. Happy Friday.
the oversight Illinois needs.
Welcome back. Buckle up, drivers in the Southwest Burbs. A $1.3 billion 16-mile reconstruction project is about to kick off in Will County along I-80.
I'm sorry, it feels like it never ends. This one's years long too, right?
Yeah.
More than 30 bridges are being refurbished or replaced over Hickory Creek and the Des Plaines River in Joliet. IDOT says drivers should expect lane shifts, reduced lanes, and some delays between Ridge Road and US 30. But it says it is not expecting a huge impact on daily commutes.
Part of this corridor, we've maintained 2 lanes in each direction, and we've done a lot to try to manage the traffic, manage the flow, and make sure that everybody can get where they need to go.
80% of the I-80 corridor is on new pavement. The project is slated for completion in 2028.
When you pay your utility bills, do you know exactly where that money is going? Chances are you don't. Consumer groups say you're actually paying for everything from trade association memberships to advertising, and they hope that a new bill moving through Springfield will change this. It's called the Utility Transparency Act. The Citizens Utility Board says if it does pass, it could save people in Illinois up to $40 million a year in hidden expenses.
We pay for all these fees, but it's not like there's line items for them on our bill. They're all buried within our customer charge and delivery charges. So we're just trying to shine a light on what's going on here so that when the utilities have these rate cases, you know, they can't go to the Illinois Commerce Commission and say, well, state law says we can recover these costs. You know, just because we've done something a certain way for a number of years doesn't mean that's the way it ought to continue to be done.
The measure would shift these hidden costs to company shareholders. Similar legislation has already passed in Connecticut, Colorado, and Maine.
It's a move that could mark a shift in who controls AI. An expert joins us to break down the Pentagon's battle with Anthropic. Caitlin.
It's a beautiful day. That fog is starting to move out. Blue sky, sunshine, gusty wind, but very warm temperatures expected for this Friday. But this weekend, temperatures are going down, and we have the chance for snow. I'll time it out for you ahead. Stay with us.
GetWindowNation.com.
Okay, it's been a busy week in politics, which means we got a lot to talk about with Fox News Sunday host Shannon Bream.
Shannon, thanks for joining us. Let's start with pretty much the latest on Epstein investigation. How about we start there? Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton telling Congress during a Thursday deposition that she had no knowledge of Epstein's crimes, and then now former President Bill Clinton is expected to testify today. Now some Democrats, they want Trump to testify. Do we see that happening?
Listen, I think that there's a big part of President Trump that would like to testify. He said all along he has nothing to hide. So I think there's got to be some part of him that might be interested in doing that. I'm sure his legal team is going to say, don't do it. We don't want this precedent of a sitting president. We don't want you dragged into this. But I do feel like there's some part of him that might want to defend himself. Now, I think today's deposition is going to be a lot more informative probably than yesterday. You heard the Secretary of State also said, you're going to have to ask my husband. When asked about some of these things yesterday, she didn't know Epstein, didn't spend time with him. But obviously, there's a lot in the public record about President Clinton being on planes. There's flight logs. There's plenty of photos of them together at social events. And so I expect he gets a lot more intense questioning today.
Another topic, big one, is Iran and the U.S. They don't seem any closer to a deal on Iran's nuclear program after the talks that unfolded in Geneva yesterday. So where do we go from here, and where does the threat of another war stand in the Middle East?
Yeah, great questions. That's something we're going to track very closely this weekend. All of the military assets are there. We know that the head of U.S. CENTCOM has briefed the president on all of his military options, although he and the vice president still say it's about diplomacy. That's the track they want to go down to try to solve this. The vice president also, in an interview with the Washington Post, interestingly said there's, quote, no way that the U.S. is going to get into anything like a prolonged conflict if there is indeed a military strike. So they're scheduled for talks next week. We'll see if anything comes of that, or if there's a strike before that, potentially.
All right, Shannon, switching gears again, and to give everyone the lowdown, this week there was another airspace closure in Texas this time. The Defense Department, without permission from the FAA, shot down what turned out to be a Border Patrol drone. Now Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, who's a top Democrat on the Chamber's Aviation Committee, says she wants a joint investigation. What do you think is next here?
Yeah, and we got this interesting joint statement today from kind of all the agencies involved saying, you know, here's what happened. We're working this out. We know there's been a lot of tension about the use of these different technologies and how they could conflict with each other as this happens. So I expect that we will, I think it's interesting we got the joint statement. I expect we'll see them try to work together to handle this internally rather than turning it into a big, even more public spat than it already is.
A lot to get to. Who do you have on this week?
So we've got Senator Tim Kaine, other side of the aisle. We've got Senator Dave McCormick, and we'll talk about all of these issues, foreign policy, Iran, but also the fact that we are still in a partial government shutdown, and it's kind of flown under the radar for most Americans, but TSA is going to start missing paychecks and others as well, and we know that more than half of Americans say they live paycheck to paycheck, so maybe that starts to turn up the heat on getting something done in Washington. All
right, Shannon, we'll be tuning in. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good to see you guys.
All right, it's 8:34 here in Chicago, and for the second straight day, big crowds are expected on the south side of the city to honor the late civil rights icon Jesse Jackson, who is lying in honor at the Rainbow Push headquarters. Brian Jackson is live right outside the building with an update for us. Brian, what are you seeing out there, sir?
Well, good morning, Anthony. I am standing live outside of the Rainbow Push Coalition. I'm here with Alderman William Hall, who was paying his respects to the late Reverend. I see you got on your Rainbow Push Coalition pin this morning. What did the Reverend mean to you personally?
I mean, number one, he meant that my father's wishes came to fruition. My dad told me that if I work with Reverend and serve Reverend, that he could do for me what my father couldn't do. And my dad was a hero. And so to have two superheroes in my lifetime, I'm just forever grateful.
And you can see all the folks here standing in line, paying some of their respects. What are some of the moments that you personally shared with the Reverend?
I mean, we went all over the world. I was able to see every continent but Australia with him, and he gave me the opportunity to get wisdom and widen the window of opportunity. And he showed me a work ethic that was rooted in serving people. I never met a man that was so committed to making sure that the world was a better place, no matter who you were, no matter where you were. And so his work ethic, his commitment to purpose, his commitment to serve is forever sketched in my heart.
And he did all of that from a basis right here in Chicago. What do you think is the significance of that?
Well, you know, Dick Gregory said it best. Matter of fact, I met Dick Gregory with Reverend Jackson, celebrating 60 years in Detroit, walking with the NAACP, Reverend Wendell Anthony. I remember the moment like yesterday, and walking with Dick Gregory, he said, Chicago gonna change the world. And that's what Chicago did. Working with Reverend Jackson here in Chicago, we were able to set trends that we saw in automotive. We saw trends change in Hollywood. We saw trends change on Wall Street. All came from Chicago. And so Chicago gave him good training ground. And I do believe that Chicago is different now. The weight of this world has to recalibrate because nobody can walk in those shoes. And so Chicago not only gave us an opportunity to witness someone that changed the world, but Chicago was a part of that movement.
And speaking of that movement, how do you carry that movement going forward?
Yeah, it starts with showing up. You know, Reverend Jackson used to say this on the broadcast. He would say, you know, support push before push has to show up for you. And Reverend Jackson pushed his body, pushed his heart to the limits, and he gave the world everything he had within him. And I think that showing up is an example of that, testament of that. It's the realness of that. And so I think that our generation, it's our time not to just show it on Instagram and show it on Facebook, but it's time for us to show up and serve like Reverend, to hold his memory so true, and to be so valuable. The question now becomes, what prophetic voice are we going to use? What hands are we going to lift for those who are beneath? And how are we going to change and speak truth to power?
All right, Alderman Hall, thanks so much for sharing your own personal testimony. As you guys can see here, the line to show these final respects for Reverend Jackson is growing. It started with 1 or 2 people. You can see now we're up to a couple of dozen or so. We've got those from all types of generations that are here this morning, including Mr. Nevin Woods, who is here. Can you come up for me just a little bit this morning? Lives right across the street. Mr. Woods, you were here yesterday. And what made you want to come back out here for a second straight day?
I missed the man. I enjoy his life, everything he taught us, especially me, because I've been through a lot.
You're 80 years old. What are you going to remember most about Reverend Jackson's legacy?
The way he was trying to teach everyone to be righteous, be good, be godly. I'm a usher in the church, and I learned a lot from him coming up.
What do you think it means to you to see all of these people lining the streets? You said you live right across the street, so what was that feeling when you saw Drexel Avenue just lined with people getting ready to pay their respects to Reverend Jackson?
I was very proud to realize that people appreciated him and remember him and what he have done.
And what do you think people are going to miss the most about Reverend Jackson?
His pretty smiling face, his words, the knowledge he was trying to portray to everyone.
All right. Mr. Woods, thanks so much for your time this morning.
You're so nice, young man.
You got a voice on you yourself.
I can't help it.
All right, as you guys can see, doors will open at 10 o'clock this morning here at the Rainbow Push Coalition. We're going to be speaking with more people throughout the morning here on Fox Chicago. Reporting live on the South Side, Brian Jackson, Fox Chicago.
Brian, thank you for those interviews. Those were so sweet. And yeah, we can definitely see that line forming, and we're lucky to see that it's sunny out there, too.
It's a great day for this.
Good weather. The sun is shining on Reverend
Nice.
Jackson. Caitlin, what are we looking at for today?
Can we just point out Brian's crisp jacket and how he looks?
He's always styling.
He looks so good out there. Yeah, we got the blue sky. I wanted to start off with visibility because we had some dense fog earlier this morning, but look at these numbers now. Over the past 30 minutes, these numbers have gone up from under a quarter mile to now 2 miles in Aurora, 3 miles in Joliet. The fog is not going to be an issue moving forward. We've got blue sky out there, and temperatures are going to be cold to start, but warm temperatures are on the way this afternoon. We've been teasing this all week, so let's show you the good stuff. Highs today expected to be ranging in the 60s, 61 at the lakefront, 60 at O'Hare, but mid to upper 60s southwest. How about a 66 at LaSalle? Feeling good, looking good, a little bit gusty. It's going to be windy this afternoon. We could see winds up to about 35 to 40 miles per hour at times. Tonight we're dropping down to the upper 20s and low 30s. And then temperatures tomorrow, back to winter-like. Mid to upper 30s expected for Chicago. Some of you southwest could be in the low to mid 40s, but we have the chance for a touch of snow tomorrow, especially north of the city. Let's take a look at our futurecast for today. Again, sunshine expected, gusty winds out of the south, temperatures in the 60s. This evening, quiet conditions. Tomorrow, seeing that wind shift. And then the cold stuff is here. This is 10:45, and our model is actually bringing in a touch of snow north of the city at this time. Now, the best potential is going to be in the afternoon on through the evening. You can see most of that snow missing us to the north, which is a good thing. Sunday, though, is going to be dry until Sunday night, where we have the chance for snow south of the city. But the temperatures, what are they looking like as we head into next week? I'll show you that 7-day forecast ahead.
All right, thank you very much, Caitlin. Appreciate it. This weekend is going to be a real treat for stargazers. Stargazers, yes. 6 planets all aligned for what astronomers are calling a cosmic parade. The question is whether the Midwest will be able to see it. That answer is coming up at 9 o'clock.
Sale ending soon.
8:44, welcome back on your Friday. An AI company says it will not give in to the Pentagon's demand for full access to a surveillance tool called Claude it produces. Anthropic was given until today to give the Defense Department complete access to Claude for all possible warfare. Harry Moggins joins us. He is a data privacy expert and CEO of Privacy Bee. Harry, just to get right into it, Anthropic says it is not comfortable for the extent of what the Pentagon wants from it. How could Claude be used to spy on U.S. citizens?
Pretty easily. So Claude's not doing the actual spying, it's doing the data crunching, right? So a lot of governments have been doing surveillance for a long time. The real risk now is not the actual surveillance, it's the fact that that surveillance is being scaled and automated at an unprecedented rate. And Claude facilitates that.
All right, so to follow up on that then, break down why the military would want this kind of tool.
Well, they're usually a legal entity. A lot of times, especially the intelligence community in the U.S., there are laws like the Fourth Amendment that protect against unreasonable searches and seizures, right? You have, the Privacy Act of 1974, you have the ECPA. There's a lot of different laws trying to build constructs around what is legal to surveil in the U.S. and what is not. That's been around for a while. A lot of those laws are decades old, way before AI existed. So now that AI is here, it's kind of a wake-up call saying, well, what was originally built that requires warrants and manual paperwork and this long process is now suddenly able to be circumvented by social media and Claude analyzing massive swaths of data from data brokers or just what's available online publicly. They're making sense of the massive amount of noise, which was up until a few years ago was really capabilities only possible by nation states. Now everybody can do it.
So Harry, kind of sounds like there's not many modern day protections to prevent modern day spying on Americans. Am I right?
There's not, unfortunately. There's been legislation like U.S. versus Carpenter a while back said that in order to get cell phone location data, there had to be a warrant for law enforcement. So certain areas like that are protected. The biggest risk is data brokers, because there's an entire industry, a $50, $100 billion industry of these companies that buy and sell your information, right? When your phone rings from a telemarketer, they're not just dialing random numbers, they buy your information from a private company that sells what they've been collecting across the internet, across your social media, across your buying behaviors, your loyalty card at grocery stores. All this data is out there and being sold right now in the data broker industry. And Claude, in collaboration with the government and some of these recent AI advancements, are now being able to really weaponize that into mass surveillance.
Let's talk again about Anthropic here. So the Defense Department is considering a law to force Anthropic to give it full access to Claude. But really, does the company have any recourse, I guess?
There's ways the government can compel them. And the biggest risk is Anthropic's a U.S. company, right? Claude and a lot of their business is U.S. based. They do global operations, but it is heavily U.S., which means if the Department of War, Department of Defense decided to say they disrupt the supply chain or basically blacklist them from the ability to work in the U.S., it's not just the $200 million contract they were given earlier this year or last year that's a risk. They're at risk of being able to operate on U.S. soil at all, which, the amount of money they've raised, the amount of revenue they have, their board, I worry they're going to cave to the government pressure if that threat becomes real.
All right, we'll keep a close eye on this. I'm so glad we had you on because I've seen some headlines about this topic, and I don't think people are fully aware on what this means. So thank you, Harry Moggins, data privacy expert and CEO of PrivacyBee. We'll be talking to you again.
Thank you.
8:48, tossing over to Caitlin with the good news for today.
Beautiful weather, sunshine, warm temperatures. Friday. It's going to be a little bit windy, though, so let's talk about it. First, looking at these live cameras, you can see how it's glowing in our beautiful city. Looking at satellite radar also shows just how quiet it is in Chicagoland. Today, we do expect sunny skies, but as mentioned, we are going to have that hiccup of gusty wind. But let's talk about the temperature right now. We're ranging in the 30s. It is 36 degrees at the lakefront and in Gary, 37 in Chicago Heights, 35 in Joliet, 33 in DeKalb, 31 in Aurora. Today's high right around 60 degrees. Now, we are going to have the wind coming in out of the southwest. No surprise there, but the gusts are going to be up to about 40 miles per hour. With those mostly sunny skies, though, still a nice day to be outdoors. Tonight, we're dropping down to about 30 with partly cloudy skies, and then tomorrow we're back to about 35. So it's going to be a cold weekend. We're not holding on to the 60s. We have drastic changes in these temperatures. 35 on Saturday, and even on Sunday, highs right around 31. So below freezing expected for the second half of your weekend. But tomorrow we do have the chance for a touch of some snow, especially north of the city, scattered afternoon snow showers. And then on Sunday night we have the potential for snow, especially south of the city. On Monday, though, we're starting off next week with highs right around 40. It is going to be a dry day after that morning snowfall potential, especially south, as mentioned. And then we have bumpy weather, the potential for rain Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Temperature-wise, though, improving back to about 43 on Tuesday. Wednesday, upper 40s and low 50s expected by Thursday of next week. So today, it is going to be a beautiful day. We've got the sunshine, the fog, no longer an issue. It's just going to be a little bit windy, but temperatures in the upper 50s to mid-60s. Gabby.
Just find some cover there, Caitlin. All right, you may be paying more for your utility bill than you should. Well, that's the argument from some consumer groups that they're making. The measure they hope will cut down on hidden costs right after this break. On Fox.
Welcome back. CPS says it is going to be moving students out of Aspira Charter School network into other district schools for the rest of the year. This move will affect around 500 high school age students. It doesn't mean that Aspira's charter is going to be going away, but CPS says Aspira does not have the money to make it through the remainder of the school year. Aspira argues that CPS has underfunded it for years, and some unionized teachers are calling on the district to give Aspira more time to raise money.
Now we're calling on CPS to put together a comprehensive plan that helps protect students and staff if these schools close.
So CPS should take responsibility for protecting our school community from the chaos that they allowed. But instead of listening to us, the people who learn and teach in these schools every day, CPS is used to listening to only the bosses.
The Chicago Teachers Union says CPS and Aspira need to have a plan in place for teachers and, most importantly, the students affected by this change. All right, other news, a $1.3 billion 16-mile reconstruction project is about to kick off in Will County on I-80.
More than 30 bridges are being refurbished or replaced over Hickory Creek and the Des Plaines River in Joliet. IDOT says drivers should expect lane shifts, reduced lanes, and some delays between Ridge Road and US 30, but it says it is not expecting a huge impact on daily commutes.
Part of this corridor, we've maintained 2 lanes in each direction. And we've done a lot to try to manage the traffic, manage the flow, and make sure that everybody can get where they need to go.
80% of the I-80 corridor is on new pavement. The project is slated for completion in 2028. Nearly 100,000 drivers take I-80 in Will County every single day.
All right, when you pay your utility bills, I doubt you know exactly where your money is going. And consumer groups say that you are actually paying for everything from your utilities trade association memberships to their advertising costs. And they're hoping that a new bill moving through Springfield will change that. This is called the Utility Transparency Act. The Citizens Utility Board says if it does pass, it could wind up saving people money, about $40 million per year in hidden expenses.
We pay for all these fees, but it's not like there's line items for them on our bill. They're all buried within our customer charge and delivery charges. So we're just trying to shine a light on what's going on here so that when the utilities have these rate cases, they can't go to the Illinois Commerce Commission and say, well, state law says we can recover these costs. Just because we've done something a certain way for a number of years doesn't mean that's the way it ought to continue to be done.
The measure would shift those hidden costs to company shareholders instead of customers. Similar legislation has already passed in Connecticut, Colorado, and Maine.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this Friday, but stay with us because our 9 o'clock hour of Good Day Chicago starts next.